This is Missy Cackle Boysbert, Senior Administrative Assistant to the Mendon Board of Health. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Andrew Fisk.
Aye.
Thomas Fickner.
Here.
Did I say it right?
You did, dear. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And Alan Greenberg had sent us all a text saying he was unable to attend, just so everyone knows. Good evening. This is an open meeting of the Mendon Board of Health. It is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of the March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, of the Board of Health, convening by telephone and conference video via Microsoft Teams meetings as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating via video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and that takes care of no share screen, can be taken care of not to share screen on your computer. Anything at this broadcast may be captured by recording. All supporting materials have been provided to members as this body is available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless chair otherwise notes. And turning it over to the first item on the agenda, please do so. Permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. Chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to keep your phone or computer on mute unless you are speaking. That will help generate clear meeting minutes. And then I hand it over to you, Andy.
Missy, could you please tell me who's on the call with us, please?
I can tell you that it's Ann, Mark, Lonnie, Tom, and Alan Tatro from the Highway Department.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tom, do you have any opening statements for us?
I do, Don, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back time for group discussion. Thank you.
All right, I have nothing new to open with. I'm happy things are going well so far from what I know. So, Missy, do you have anything to start us?
Just more of the same, trying to maneuver our ways through the different situations that come up with the governor's orders for the reopening of phase 1. I was actually very happy to be able to inform a business that they were able to conduct. It's not a gym. I forget what kind of business. It's like a cross-circuit training type of thing. There's no machinery or anything. And she asked if she would be able to hold classes and stuff. And I was actually able to tell her she was able, as long as it was outside in the parking lot, according to the certain guidelines that the state had provided, she was more than welcome to start opening up her business again. So that, for a change, made me feel pretty good that I was able to help someone instead of telling them no all the time. You know, you're not part of that phase. Other than that, the two things that you have to really discuss is Alan from the Highway Department would like to reopen the metal dumpster. He did give us a plan which I did email to you guys, and I would turn it over back to you, Andy, to see if you had any comments or questions or concerns for Alan.
Alan, what do you have for us?
Well, I want to open the recycling center, and I sent you my plan. I don't know if you read it or not, but I'll read it for you. In keeping with Governor Bacon's Phase 1 guidelines, we propose reopening the recycling center with the following stipulations in place. There will be 2 stop signs put in place at the entrance of the recycling center, allowing only 1 vehicle at a time to enter. This applies to the metal dumpster, electronics trailer, universal waste shed, and compost area. In doing so, this will keep contact to a minimum and provide a safer environment for our attendants. All residents should remain in their vehicles until their turn to enter. We will be creating a sign stating our new policies. The attendant will be supplied with masks, rubber gloves, and a bottle of hand sanitizer to provide for his own safety. So we will I'll have a sign made up, informing the people what to do, to stay in their cars and don't come out. So, I think this will work fine.
Couple of questions, Alan. First of all, how old is the attendant?
Because he's got to be, I think he's 70.
Yeah, I think that poses a problem. Missy, could you comment on that, please?
Well, the issue is one of the guidance that they've advised is anyone 65 years or older, or anyone any underlying health conditions, if they could work remotely or other avenues to be used for them, that's the direction to go.
Well, I'll try to see if I can find a younger person. I'll have to advertise the position then.
Hold on. It's Lonnie. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't think you can discriminate on
No.
age. It's a
No, you would just make you can make exceptions, like to make sure that if the employee feels comfortable and he's okay with it and doesn't mind doing the work, then fine. But they're just saying that they ask those who are 65 and older because they're at greater risk because of that area that they're in, but it also includes anyone who has any underlying health conditions. So as long as you can keep this gentleman safe, I would say you'd be okay. But just when it comes to the age group, it's just more that you take extra cautious measures, just like here at Town Hall. Gail's in here and she's the oldest one. And we make sure she's taken care of. Bill and I have other ways of working without having to be in contact with Gail. Does that make any sense?
All that Missy just said is all that we were trying to impress, Lonnie. Certainly no discrimination. Missy, would you address the money issue, please?
The money, the only thing is, I know in the guidance that we get, they want to, the handling of money, the better. I don't think there's a way to do a credit card or anything down there, but possibly just accepting checks and checks only, and that way the gentleman down there doesn't have to be constantly changing cash. That's just an idea.
Well, that's a good idea. I could put
That's all
that
I
on.
wanted you to know. There's a couple of issues that were brought to our attention and have been out there that just simply wanted to help educate you and have you understand those are issues that they were watching.
Yeah, so we can ask them to pay with check only. That's fine with me. We can put that, we can put it on the website and put it on the sign that what I'm having made.
Missy, I have a question. For you. What's the difference? And I'm simply asking just as to understand, what is the difference in safety of someone handing you a paper check as opposed to handing the money? I know the money gets around much more, but simply they are passing on pretty much the same thing.
That is true, but they feel money is more dirty than a paper check that someone might have had. That's the rationale. You got to understand, some of the stuff that the state comes down with is stuff that we might not agree with, might not want to have to enforce or even talk about, but sometimes we do.
Alan, it sounds like you have a good plan, and I wish you well, and I hope everything goes smoothly for you.
Very good. Thank you.
Tom, do you have any comments for Alan?
Not so much comment, just a question, Alan. Would the attendant be equipped with a cell phone?
Yeah, he's got a cell phone. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask is that could be a means of a communication avenue should there be a need to be communicating with someone and he just doesn't want to feel that individual get too close. I know there'll be sort of in an outside environment, but if there's a number that somebody could talk to him with, if some communication has to take place, it just might lend some extra distance safety to it. That's all.
It's Lonnie again. We would have to supply that person with a cell phone. We can't go post his number on a sign that everybody's now gonna have access to. That's just not fair to that person. So we'd have to offer him a phone of some sort.
Oh,
Yeah, that would
okay.
make sense. Yeah. Yep, makes sense.
All right. All right. So I'll have to see about a phone then.
And again, not that I raise it as a necessary thing. I just raised it as if it was an option, if he could be communicated to. I mean, I've been down there many times and I understand the operation, and I think with the appropriate signage, advertising the process, I think, that alone just may be enough, to limit the contact. I just raised it as a potential avenue that, may be beneficial.
Yeah. We don't make money down there. I mean, we barely make enough to pay everything and pay his salary. So the expense of a phone, I mean, is going to be quite something. Unless I never looked into like a disposable one or whatever, a burner phone or whatever you want to call them. So I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's above and beyond, and certainly a good suggestion by Tom, but I really don't think it's an end-all, do-all, be-all. I think you'll be all set without it, because like you said, it's an additional cost that's not necessary. The other thing that might be frowned upon, Alan, is the dumpster diving also.
Is the what?
The dumpster diving, people that go in the metal dumpster for good stuff.
Yeah, we try to keep people out of there.
Okay. Well, I'm happy with your plan. It sounds good, and I do believe you'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I concur as well. I don't want you to go to any outside expense. So, same
Okay, and you'll let the Board of Selectmen know. Well, actually, Lonnie's online with you and Mark, so cool. All right. If you're all done with me, that's awesome.
Thanks for your time, Alan.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Alan.
Bye-bye.
Tom, I was just wondering, were you thinking of the phone more of a of a safety issue, or if he had an issue, he could call Alan or down to the police department?
Well, I hadn't considered that aspect. I guess it would always be good for him to have it from that perspective. So if he had an issue personally unrelated to the situation, he'd have a means to communicate with someone.
I'm just thinking where he wouldn't necessarily need a town-paid cell phone, and no number would be provided to anybody. That he had that way, just of a safety resource more than anything. That if with these new rules or the new ways of things are being done, that if he felt people weren't listening, that he would be able to contact someone, to either the board, or they call the police department, they call one of the board members to come down and say, hey, listen. That's the only thing I was thinking about with the phone.
No, I would agree. It's a good point. So I would think, again, to Lonnie's point, not to have a personal number advertised out there for people to call. But you're right. I think from an inside safety perspective, I like to think he has an avenue that's already kind of been there and available should something have to, be addressed, internally, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
Well, he will have his own personal phone, so I'm sure it won't be trapped. Missy, what's the next thing for us, please?
The next thing really, I will turn it over to Anne. She has she's had 2 flyers she would like to be able to send out with regards to more of educational pieces to the townspeople of Mendon. As you know, pretty soon we're going to be in the mosquito season with Triple E and all that other fun stuff. And she's been working very hard, and I thank her very much for all the hard work she's put into this to gather the information and put it all together. She emailed it to me. I emailed it out to you guys, so hopefully y'all had a chance to take a look at it. But I think it's great.
Thank you. Ann, would you address it, please?
Yeah, it mostly covers the personal protection aspect. So giving people information with the mosquito season coming up. And I mean, it would be something that could be, put on the website. If it was put in a flyer, it could be a, one piece of paper copied on both sides.
Okay,
And
that's it.
yeah, and I know Uxbridge and Upton, they're interested in also using it. But yeah, obviously I wasn't going to give it to them with the Mendon Board of Health name on it until you guys, approved it. So that's why I'm passing it by you. What questions do you have?
I, at this time, don't have any questions. Tom, do you have anything?
No, I had the chance to review it, and I think you covered all the bases, and I think it's awesome. I think it'll be a nice thing to get out there to folks for the coming season. I appreciate all the effort and all the other folks that kind of joined in to collaborate on it.
Yeah. I mean, one question I would have is, I don't know if this would be something that you might want to send out in the crier. I don't know if you have money for that kind of thing, or.
I can definitely look at the budget. I don't know who to contact for a flyer, the crier, but I could definitely look into how, if I got a quote and we have the money in the budget, I don't see why if the board's okay with it, why we wouldn't be able to send it out.
I could tell you how much it costs to put it in the flyer and the crier. It's $182.50. No, and then the number of copies would be 2,700.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think you would probably have that printed somewhere else, right?
I can do that in-house, maybe, if it's okay. I don't kill the copiers here.
Like a lot, but
Yeah, I'm not used to dealing with printing companies, because most of the time if I do something, it's through Kelly and Ryan with our trash bills. And yeah, I'm not used to it, but I'm sure I can look into it.
well, Staples was the cheapest price I could find, and that was $243. So the total is $428.
Yeah, just I can look at the budget and see what kind of money, we're not going to be spending a lot because we're not going to have a lot of meetings to go to, or actually, tobacco stings aren't going to be happening until after at least July 1st. So I'm pretty sure we've got the money in the budget, but I just don't want to say yes and then find out, no, I don't.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is the land use committee has some funding, and I'm going to be having a meeting, so maybe we could pay for part of it.
Okay. Again, let me just take a quick peek, and I can send you an email in the morning. I got a DPH call in the morning, so I'll take a quick peek at the budget, and if I think we can cover it, I don't think the board will have a problem.
Okay, and I can help you with the copying, and doing that, or delivering it, if that's helpful.
Okay, great.
So do you think that you could maybe make a vote on it or something, so that, is it okay saying that it's, sponsored by the Mendon Board of Health, or what do you guys want to do?
Tom, do you have any thoughts on this?
I'm fine. I guess I wouldn't want to take away any credit or time that other folks may have contributed into it too. That may have been, reflective in the documents going out. But I'm fine with having the Mendon Board of Health be a quote-unquote sponsor for it.
I think it adds more weight having the Board of Health be the sponsor of it.
I got you.
Okay.
Yep, I see where you're coming at. Yep,
Tom, could you make a motion and I'll step down?
sure. Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve and accept the Triple E documents as presented for implementation to the public,
Sponsored by the Board of Health.
sponsored by the Mendon Board of Health.
You'll step down and second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you, Ann.
Great. I guess my other question is, you're okay that I share it with a lot of other people?
Absolutely. It's your hard work. It's yours to share. And like you said, as long as you remove the Mendon's tag on it.
Remove them. I know Oxbridge is fine leaving it be the Mendon Board of Health, but I can also take it off if you want me to.
Somebody, go ahead, Missy.
I
We
would-
lost you.
That's okay. I would just maybe just leave it up to the each health department. If they want to put their name on it, fine. If they don't, they want to leave it at Mendon. I know with that presentation Kristen Black did, she said we can change it to however we want. I would rather just leave it as her presentation, as she did all the work for that. So I don't think it's really a big deal on whose name is on it, just as long as that information gets out.
Okay, it's a little easier to distribute it in one format.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Ann.
Yeah,
All
thanks
right,
very
thank
much,
you.
Ann. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, Ann, about the budget.
Okay. Oh, actually, one other quick question. On the signs, when do you think they might be ready?
I was just gonna tell you, by the way, I have your signs in the back of my car. So I'm actually back in the office next week. So if you want me to drop them off in your driveway, or if you want to meet me in town hall next week, it's totally up to you, but just let me know and I'll do it either way.
Okay, yeah, I can come to town hall. If you're driving on Pleasant Street, leave them on my front porch. That's fine too.
Okay.
But yeah, either's good.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Ann.
Thanks, Ann.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Missy, just real quick, I have not received any emails from you in quite a few days now. I'm looking back and it's been over a week since I've seen an email from you, so I don't know what's going on. You said that you've sent something and I haven't gotten them.
It's Lonnie. I'll be in touch with you, AJ. We'll fix that.
Okay, thank you. Lonnie.
You're not getting email because your password is expired.
No, he doesn't use the town email.
Really? Okay.
So
All
I'll
right.
have to look at that, whatever email address. It might be the laptop too. So I will
Okay.
take a look at that.
All right, thank you.
You're
What's
welcome.
next on the agenda, Missy?
I had something else for you and it went right out my head. I do have another issue other than COVID-19, and I just want your guidance more than anything. I have a house that they installed the septic system. It was really done through the middle of COVID-19. Technically, the plans expired in, let's see, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 2018. Normally, we would require an extension letter, and there's a $100 fee. So when this system was installed, it's for a brand new house. I didn't catch it, but Lenny's done all the inspections, and nothing has changed in the area, and there's nothing that has changed in Title V from 2014 till now. So my question is, are you, if you and Tom are okay with letting me allow this certificate of compliance to go through, or do you want them to apply for a 1-year extension? That's really kind of a moot point now. But I didn't want to do anything without speaking to you guys first.
I'm okay with it. There's been no changes. Everything's the same. It's just simply a time issue.
Yeah.
It's date,
Yep.
date
Yep.
issue.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fine.
How about you, Tom?
Same, yep, I'm fine with it as well.
All right. Like I said, it's one of those unusual things, but it's not something I wanted to do. I actually talked to Tom Ryder about it, and he said, really, he goes, it's up to the board. Do they want to collect the extra money, or they just want to let it go? And I said, I pretty much know. I'm pretty sure I know which way the board will go, but I want to ask them first before I say. And you did exactly what I thought you'd do, but I didn't want to make that call without you guys knowing.
Hey, Tom,
Yes,
I think it's time we change the plans because she's catching on to us.
yeah, she figured us out, Andy, I don't know, not too good.
That can be scary. That can be scary. So
I don't like to be predictable.
I've been working with you
Right,
guys.
Lonnie? Right, Lonnie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like that.
All right,
So
thank you. That's all good by us, Missy. Sure, we can pass that on.
Okay, very good. Off the top of my head, that's really all I have for you guys tonight. Just trying to, we're in the middle of the first phase of reopening. The next phase should start June 8th, as long as the governor's phase for the second part of the opening. And then, we'll just take it day by day. We get complaints, we get concerns. I pass them off to Lenny. Lenny inspects them the best he can. Some people, it's going to get a little obnoxious. I'll warn you now if you haven't already figured that one out.
But it's more or less tattletaling, what I've seen of it.
Yeah.
Can I ask a couple questions if you don't mind?
You just did.
On the gym that, oh, no, I know it's not a use. All right, it's the training area that opened. Was that the CrossFit in town?
I believe so. I believe it's on Emmy White's property.
Yep. Yeah, there's just two in there. There's a CrossFit and then the MMA training. And I just wasn't sure if it was CrossFit South Central. Where did you, and I'm only asking this, not, I have a friend that also owns one somewhere, and I just want to know what you read about them opening so I can pass that on to them, because I don't think they understand that they can open.
I can actually pass you on the guidance that I got, that I was that I received.
Perfect.
So that way you can give it to whoever and they can see. It's not for a gym that has like elliptical machines or anything, but if you're, because what was brought up at a DPH conference call is people were getting calls from yoga places and things like that. And if they can go outside in an unconfined area like a parking lot and they can socially distance, stay under the 10 people. And DPH said, well, we'll get back to you. At the next call, they said, yes, that was allowed. So we did get some stuff. I will forward it on to you, and that way you can pass it on to whoever.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're
Roughly what is our complaint count, if you will? I mean, are we at hundreds or are we at?
Oh, no. No. Actually, it's more of repetitive. People, there's certain restaurants, certain establishments that I don't know if people just have a hair across their butt for this particular different establishments or not.
Yeah.
But Lenny goes in and talks to them and says, and they're like, oh, well, we're family or we're this or we're that. And he goes over the rules again with them. Lenny's trying very hard to work with people. It's a very stressful time. It's very hard, and the state's really thrown the local boards of health under the bus, so to speak. So Lenny doesn't try to go in there, rah, you've got to do this. He just like, come on, dude, let's, let's get this going,
So, okay, all right. Is there, and I guess this is up to you guys, is there a way for us to be notified when the complaints come in?
You tell me how you want them notified, and I can send them off to Kim if you want to be CC'd in the email.
I only just want to stay abreast of the matter, and I don't know that the rest of the board does, but I'll ask them, and then I guess I can get back to you. I just want to know and I don't want to get involved to the event of I want to go tell anybody what not to do. I just kind of want to stay, and again, it's up to you guys if you're okay with it, because this is totally your realm of what we have going on in town. I'm just involved with a lot of the businesses, and I talk to a lot of the business owners, on a pretty much a daily basis. I'm starting to talk to the ones that haven't even opened yet. Obviously, we dealt with trying to get the dog groomers open, and I know I'm just getting a lot of, because I talked to them already, I'm getting a lot of their stress levels are acting. Now, again, I know we're waiting on the state, but I guess we'll see what happens in this next round. But when you look at the numbers going down, and I guess I have a couple questions that I need to get answered before I would even ask you guys these questions. But at what point do we just say enough's enough? But I don't know we can, and I don't know where that point is. I mean, I know these are executive orders, but they're not laws, or are they laws? Like, I can't get a straight answer from anybody. And now we're starting to see across the country that people are now testing these executive orders. And I'm watching these court cases pop up, and now the natives are going to start getting restless because the courts are siding with the businesses and not the governors and not the communities. So I just want to make sure that we're also aware of that happening, because again, the natives are going to get restless. There already are, and there's already scuttlebutt, and they're already saying, well, what if we just all open anyway? And we did like those questions I need to get answered. Like, what are the answers to that question? What if every restaurant in town just said, we're opening? What would we do? Give them all a $300 fine? See, that's what we're going to start to see.
Right, and that's the problem that all local health departments are having. I wish you guys could hear some of these DPH phone calls, because the health directors are just out of their minds with those same exact concerns and questions that you're having. The state tells us, oh, you've got to do this, that, and the other thing. Well, half your stuff contradicts each other, number one. Trying to get a straight answer out of anybody is ridiculous. And, if you think you're going to have a revolt of businesses, you're going to have a revolt of health agents, because it's really gotten to that point. I'm not kidding. I see that.
Because they're just going to give up, right?
Right, absolutely.
They didn't sign on for this. And I think, so sorry, Missy, go ahead.
No, but so I think the health departments, believe it or not, are actually more on the lines of the businesses and the residents, as far as we have a job to do, but the government's not giving us an easy way of doing it, and we're equally as frustrated. I do know. And some of it does take common sense and everything. I had one resident who emailed me, who was very upset because what was the Board of Health going to do to stop the drive-in for allowing people to come in at 10 o'clock on a Sunday?
Nothing.
And it's like, really? Yes, they can open, but these are some of the things. It's like, yes, they can open up at 12:01. Yes, they're going to show a movie, but how far do you really want to push it? Do you think I'm going to send one of my board members, agent, because I talked to Lenny about it, at 10 o'clock at night to kick out everybody in the parking lot? So
No.
some of this stuff, yes, you do have to use some common sense on.
No, I got it.
Lonnie,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
what's one of the biggest frustrations is when we, as a whole, as a pretty conscious group, don't agree with what we're hearing and what's being sent our way. And unfortunately, this is the job that we took, and we don't agree with it. So how do you enforce something that, and my biggest case in point is Georgia's Surf and Turf. How do we go there in good conscience and tell them, no, get off the property? So that's one of the biggest frustrations. And there's numerous other ones.
I get that. And I think that, and I know, Tom, you brought it up the last time about that the guideline in one memo says that we must enforce, right? And then we get another memo from the AG's office that says, well, it's up to the local community to enforce ultimately what you want to enforce, right? So and again, that in turn becomes, I think, the major frustration. And the same thing when we, and I'm sure that there's probably a simple argument to this, and I'm only so close to this one because of my mom's salon, right? So we can allow a bunch of people in a grocery store to walk around, touch everything, and just continue to let people in and out of a grocery store all day. And that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, maybe thousands. I don't know what the in and out of a grocery store is, but they're busy, right? That's a safe say. Walmart, Home Depot, all these places. You touch something, you put it back on the shelf. You touch this, you touch that, you keep moving around, and you're moving around the store. And then you have at a hair salon, 3 stylists are sitting in there working right now. And because they're not double booking, because the guidelines tell them they're not supposed to, they now are maybe doing 4, maybe 5 people in a day. So let's call it 5 people. That's 3 hairstylists. That's 15 people have moved in and out of that salon in a day. But yet there's all these guidelines that they have to follow. Probably way more than what the grocery store or the Home Depot, right? And it's now granted it's a smaller space, but it's only 15 people, right? So that's where the craziness in this comes in. You're seeing the numbers. We can't get honest answers from anybody. You got the CDC contradicting itself. You got contact was at one point the only way you got it was by touching something that somebody either spit on or touched. Now they're saying, well, I guess we were wrong on that sucker. That one's out the window, right? You got Fauci saying now masks don't even work. So, like, what are we doing?
I totally agree with you, Lonnie. I don't know how Tom and Andy feel, but I totally agree with it. And it makes it that much more difficult for the local health departments to be able to answer questions to people and give them, I've seen it myself. We had it where, I'll give you an example. Northbridge had the golf course open. There's a restaurant tied to it. You go on a DPH phone call and they say, oh, yes, the restaurant can be open because they're serving food. The next week, they said, oh, no, because it's got to be their primary business, that you should not have allowed that establishment to open up. The week after that, they came back and said, oh, no, you could have allowed that. So so it's difficult for everybody, I think.
Yeah, and I just, there's one stat on the COVID website, on the Mass.gov website, right, that stays pretty stagnant, and it's a pie chart, and my thing's all hung up right now, about halfway down in the document, when you go on the daily numbers page, which I'm going to say 2 things about this daily numbers page. Every day, the previous numbers are different. So I don't know how they do that, right? But this chart is never the same. Like on the historical data, if you even go back and look at the historical dates of what was posted on the website, you see the numbers skew up and down all over the place. The previous day is never the same. And the news, and I'm starting to track it now, NECN, the news program, puts out numbers daily about new cases and deaths. I have never seen them coincide even remotely with what is on the Mass.gov website. So I don't know where they're getting their numbers. That being said, back to my pie chart. There's a pie chart that says death. It's a death pie chart. I'm sorry to be morbid here, but the pie chart it says deaths from underlying conditions and deaths of people in Massachusetts that didn't have underlying conditions. Do you know what that number is?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
It's 98.7% or something. 97.3 as opposed to 2.7. 97.3 being the people that have died are under previous health conditions, right?
Yep.
So they had health issues. I feel like what we're doing, and again, this may be the wrong form, but I just want you guys to know how I feel, is that we need to protect the people that have the underlying conditions. We need to stop trying to protect ourselves from this mess. And that's how I feel. But anyway, I'm going to try to get some more info for you guys before the next meeting about where they're going to start allowing us, when or if, and how we will be able to start to implement stuff as from our own community aspect, and how we can maybe make decisions on our own. I know that I worked on it before. I stopped. I'm going to try to work on it again, and I'll see what I can get for you guys. Okay.
That'd be great. I appreciate
Thank you, Lonnie.
That's all I have. Thank you for letting me
Thank
read.
you. Mark, you've been quiet. Thank you for joining us. Do you have something to add to us? Guess he's gone.
No, I'm here, Mr. Chairman. Turn on mute the button there. Nothing really more to share on the PPE side. Again, just maintaining PPE for public safety. We were able to get about 50 cloth masks from MEMA. So if there's any town department that would like 5 of them to just supplement what they already have, they have cloth masks. There's nothing special about them, but it's just something else that's available. I have some in the police station.
Wonderful.
Again, right now, we're starting to get ready for the reimbursement side. I know Kim sent out an email a day ago about anybody who got money for the CARES Act, that the deadline, I believe, to file the paperwork for that is coming up next week. And that's all I have on the emergency management side. Things at the zoo are going well. We're getting great compliance from all the patrons about wearing their mask, and all the sanitizing stuff that we put in place is really working well. Crowds have been a little low, which we anticipated. So we're hoping that we're going to get some good information on phase 2 from the governor. That's all I have for you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tom, do you have any questions for Mark?
No questions. Thank you, Mark. All's good.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, so we've covered everything on the agenda, I'm assuming, Missy, because I didn't get a copy of that. Is my
Yes.
email not working? Okay, so that's all good.
Yeah, all I had was the COVID-19, and I brought up some of the old business and so that's
Okay.
all I have for you guys. Just an FYI for you guys. Next week, Gail is on vacation, so I will be in the office like I normally am.
Oh, Missy, 2 things. Do you
Yep.
want me to send the email to, or are you going to follow up with the email regarding the dumpster thing? Are you going to follow up back to Kim on that it's a go?
Yeah, I can email Kim and say that Alan came before the board and the board was okay with the plan, and you guys can there go and do whatever it is you guys do.
Can you just reply to all so that Chris and everybody gets it, so that they're all fine?
Sure.
One other thing. Okay, you'll be there next week. I'll get in touch with you. I just need to grab one of those recycle bins for my mom.
Okay, no problem. Just let me know when you want to stop by and I'll have it ready for you.
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey, Missy, the pink bag recycling, I can't think of the name of it. They've started up again. Has things straightened out since you and I last spoke about lack of pickup when they started up?
Other than just what I told you about, I am going to send something to the crier, because I did ask Sunny for a more of expanded list as far as exactly what they will take, because it's more than just clothing. But if you look at the bags, that's really where they focus on. So hopefully I'll be able to get something into that and let people know that they can contact the company and they will drop off the bags. I didn't put out any bags this week. I kind of forgot with the whole Labor Day holiday. But I'm going to Memorial Day. But I'm going to try and put 2 bags out next week and see what happens. And if I have an issue, I'll let you know.
Wonderful, thank you. The other thing is Dan Byer put a post on Facebook that I saw, and I thanked him for it, stating that Harvey has started up bulk pickups again.
Yep.
So
And that's also on the website.
It is. I was going to ask you. That must be elsewhere on our sites too, right?
Yeah.
Very good. People would be happy with that.
Right. So Dan he's done a great job with the website. He really has. So anytime I send him an update with like the pink bags or Harvey or the numbers or whatever, he's really, by the next day, he's got it up. He's also worked on, which should be going live also. If you remember last week, I said, we should have a page ready for the businesses so they can kind of find the information instead of having to look through the UPH and everything. So I sent him probably 15 links that he's working on, and what he sent me so far, it looks really, really good. I don't know when he's going to make it live. I will add Kristen's video to that, so that will help businesses to kind of check that off their checklist as far as the reopening plans.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yep.
last week we had discussed making the meetings every other week again to get on the regular schedule, and we decided to go this week also. Does anybody have any thoughts or concerns if we stretch it back out to every other week again to a normal schedule like we've been on? Tom?
No, I'm fine if we want to go back to, the normal schedule as opposed to every week.
Missy, do you have thoughts on this?
I think you're okay with it. Just keep in mind, if the numbers keep trending like they are, June 8th would be the opening up of phase 2. So that would be a great date. It would be June 10th for you guys to have a meeting if you don't want to meet next Wednesday, the 3rd, because now we will have the second phase opening up. And if any questions, concerns, or anything comes up, that would, that week you definitely should meet.
Then let's do it. We'll meet on the 10th. Okay. Tom, I noticed a while back you made a comment a few days ago about minutes. There was a question about the minutes, the last meeting that we had on at the town hall.
Yes, yeah.
Have those minutes been?
Nope. I'm going to be sending
Okay.
them to him. I have that one, and I'm going to get this one done, and then I can give him that one and all of May's to look over. And then your next
Okay.
meeting in June, you can take care of it. And then you're all spot on. You're all up to date. It's just me getting those, because there's so many from April and May, up on the website.
That's about the last time I got an email, was way that far back, whenever that came out. Okay, but I have received numerous emails from other people, so I know that my email is working. It's just a matter of the connection somewhere between you and me. It's not a problem.
Okay, I'll figure it
Mhm.
out. It might be the
Okay.
laptop too. I gotta check on the town, my computer here to see what your actual email address, and maybe somehow it got
Change it.
wiped or something. I don't know, but I will take that.
Do you have Wi-Fi at your house?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Tom, do you have anything else, concerns or questions or statements?
Well, I do have a question for Lonnie and then some added commentary to Lonnie's discussion earlier.
Go ahead, your turn.
So Lonnie, question with regard to the town hall opening. How are things coming from that perspective? Do you know, in terms of what's being planned, or how things are rolling from the town hall standpoint?
So at this point, I don't have an exact update. I'm sure I will by the next meeting. I'll have it for you, because we're gonna meet in between you guys. And let me look at the agenda right now, make sure it's on there. If it's not on there, what I'll do is I'll get with Kim just to get the info. Oh, here it is, right here. Agenda. Because I know there was discussion recently, so let's see, corresponding board with the license. Okay, consider reopening of services, library, highway, and parks. That is going to be on our next meeting, but not the town hall itself. But I'm sure we will discuss it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That was going to be one of my questions too. Thank you, Tom.
Sure. Yeah. I know when we were kind of talking internally through email, we were kind of thinking through about what we've already kind of looked at and what we haven't looked at yet. And I know that so I think town hall is kind of working out their plan. I know Tanya had submitted something, and one of the thoughts I had is that, which probably, Lonnie, you've probably already discussing internally, it'd probably be good, whatever plan comes out of the town hall be something that just gets applied in general to the building, just for consistency standpoint, versus, one department versus another.
Right, and I think that was the plan, that there was going to be a plan for more per se town buildings, than there was anything else. However, I know that they're talking about the library and was it library parks and dang it, I lost the email. I just had it in front of me here. Hold on, let me just bring it back up again. It was library, park, and highway. Well, there's the discussion from highway will be that you guys have already looked at their plan and approved it. You've already looked at the library plan and approved that one, I believe, right?
Correct, yes.
Yep. And then parks, I guess I think when we talk about parks, it's gonna be more of the letting games be played, things along those lines, that whole reopening thing. And I think is that part of what you just sent me, Missy?
Part of that is yes.
Okay, so
The thing with the Parks Department is that that would be in stages depending on what parts of the parks, like camps and everything, where they fall into the phases of the governor's reopening.
yeah, gotcha. Yep. I think we're just gonna look at that whole step program.
Okay, and I might have jumped the gun there when I said yes to library. I know that it was presented last week. There may have still been a couple of little things, but I think overall, I think we were pretty happy with the direction Andrew was going to take the process.
Okay.
Has there been any feedback on the senior center at all?
So only that I want to say that if I remember correctly, Amy wasn't ready to do that yet.
Okay.
Although I feel like now look, in the same breath that I said we need to take care of the folks with underlying issues, and I'm sure that does come with age at some point. Underlying issues are part of aging. However, I feel like I should probably contact Amy and understand this a little more, because I feel like if our seniors are just sitting at home alone, that's got to be worse than them getting together if they're together as seniors. You know what I mean? I know at least my father-in-law, he's down at the Draper in Hopedale, but they can get out and mingle with each other, not just stuck in their rooms. There was only a very short time, I think a week or two, that they were on lockdown, but at least they can get out and mingle. And for our seniors that are at home, I feel like that it would be way more beneficial for them to even be able to meet at the senior center and hang out, even if it's for a couple of hours a day, whatever it may be, and to at least get the senior van back in motion. And I think that was what Amy had planned, was that first.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to have anyone feel forced. You have to be comfortable with whatever, it is they're, looking to plan to do. So, and just in running down in general, just trying to think of who we've covered, who we haven't. So town hall, library, parks, highway, we just discussed senior center. The only other building I could think of from a remote perspective might be historical. That might have some hours of operation, but other than that, is there anything else that I'm not considering or that would be factored in here? Or is that pretty much it?
Was that towards me?
Whomever.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I believe I think that everything's been covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of any other. Tom, I think you hit the nail on the head with all the different departments. The only thing is, does the historical commission have hours? Or are you thinking the historical society on Hastings Street?
Well, I was thinking when I thought historical, I thought about the group there on 16, the building they just moved to a year or so ago. So I just didn't know how they operated, if they do operate on any kind of, standard setup to the public. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's all behind the scenes.
That one, I'm not sure if it's a town entity or a town. Is it, Lonnie? Is that a town-owned property, or is that
which one's that?
Historical Society on 16?
No, Historical Society is a private organization.
Okay, very good. Okay.
They were in the town-owned building when it was on, when it was in the yellow building.
Yeah, on Main Street there, yeah. Okay. So outside of that, I just wanted to kind of follow up a little bit. I know Lonnie had some good points earlier, and I just want to lend my thought here. I understand the frustration, and I am in agreement with a good percentage of that frustration. I personally have been on a couple of these DPH calls myself, and there's a lot of groups, a lot of boards of health, as Missy indicated, that are getting sort of frustrated because we're in some cases we're not getting the kind of notice on things that we probably should get, given the position that the state wants to put us in. Some of the issues that have come up on a couple of these calls go toward the legal aspect that you kind of alluded to, Lonnie. And they have a couple of folks who've been on the calls, and pretty consistently when a question has been put out there, and I'm not here to beat anybody up, but the common lead phrase that comes back is, "It's my understanding." And from my personal perspective, I don't think that that's the best response you'd want to hear if somebody's asking a legal-based question, because my understanding is open to interpretation. Whereas in my view, law is law and legal is legal.
And that's one of the big things that I'm getting now. And I'm saying, well, what is the answer? Like, we need to find an answer. Well, you know what? We're probably not going to get an answer until we start to test. And I just feel like some of these businesses in town are ready to just band together and put a big test together. So,
No, understood.
Not tomorrow, but I know I can feel it.
Yeah. And to that, I'll add that I know in the beginning when this kind of came down with the order, I know you had referenced it earlier, there seemed to be more of an alignment where the local boards of health were being directed to provide a quote-unquote enforcement element. However, when the governor introduced or came out on that Monday to formally open up this phased-in plan, he used a term, and I unfortunately don't remember the exact words, but in paraphrasing, he kind of made it sound like he was kind of putting it on the quote-unquote honor system with regard to folks opening up and following what would be reasonable protocols in conducting business and working with the public, which was a little different spin, I'll say, than previously. And I think that in my view, reasonableness and common sense should rule the day. I get there's a lot of people out there that are nervous and anxious, and certainly we're going to have individuals that are going to pick at every little thing. But I think if folks are out there in the commercial world and they've put together a plan and they're exercising the ability to implement the social distancing, and where they can't, requesting a face covering by the public, which I think most people are pretty understandable about. Everybody, I'm sure, carries one with them now these days anyway. And you can, imparting those things, you can conduct business and you can engage the public accordingly.
Excuse me for 1 minute, Tom. Unfortunately, I have to leave the meeting, so I'm going to exit right now. You guys can keep going, and I apologize. But go ahead.
Just go ahead and just do your vote to end the meeting. That's all.
Just vote to adjourn the meeting.
I'll step down and make a motion to end the meeting.
Okay, Tom made a motion, Andy seconds. It is 8.
Thank you.
Thanks.
8:09.
Sorry.
Thank you.